Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know you guys have been waiting, and we are super excited to have back the wonderful, the beautiful Miss Tacondra L. Brown.
Hello.
If you're watching, hi. If you're watching on here, give her some hearts, give her some likes. I know Facebook takes a little time to build the audience up, but we're going to jump right into this because there's so many people that are itching to hear about this topic. And those of you who are joining us on the replay for later, welcome to the conversation. Really quick, I want to give you some background on my beautiful guest. So she is an author, an advisor, and a life transformation strategist. She helps women who are struggling with unresolved grief and pain to transform their hurt into healing, their losses into legacy, and their pain into power. And she is highly esteemed for her beautiful spirit, her contagious presence, and her straightforward and transparent approach, which I happen to love that about her when she's coaching others. And while also merging spirituality with the practicalities of everyday living is something that she is amazing at. So you can definitely learn more about her by her two books that she actually has out, which I'm going to just pause for a second and let her greet you guys and say hi. And she'll tell you about those two books really quick.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be on here today. My name is Tacondra, as she mentioned in the beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. I am a self-published author of two books. I published my first book, Transform from Pain to Purpose, in 2018. And this is basically my story. This is a story about the pain that I went through and how I later transformed that pain into purpose. I talk a lot about, healing and the process of healing and transforming the mind in this one. And then I have a second book that I wrote also called Beautifully Transformed. I got my little note thing here. Beautifully Transformed, Discovering Beauty in the Beast. And this is kind of like an add-on to the first book where I go more into my story, talk about my personal transformation and some of the things that have taken place, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, and emotionally as well. So we'll talk more about those today.
I love it. And we're not going to give you all of the information in the book. You're going to have to go get it yourself. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So really quick, I want to just put this below so that way everybody can kind of see it while we're talking, because I know they're like, what book? So what is your website again?
My website is www.tacondra.com.
All right.
Tacondra.
Awesome. So I'm going to have that floating up here really quick for everybody so you guys can see that. And if you, feel inspired to get the book, I have both. And I have a t-shirt. I'm having on the t-shirt on today. Today, I'm actually rocking my friend John Graves' shirt. It's called God's Plan. Love it.
Love it.
I think Drake wrote a song about that. But anyway, we're not here to talk about him. All right. So we're going to get into this. But really quick, before getting into this juicy topic, just want to tell a little bit about what she was talking about. A lot of her stories, the kind of audience that she reaches is people that are struggling with fear, inadequacies, broken beliefs, feeling unfruitful and stuck, and just kind of unable to soar in their life after experiencing a trauma or loss. And I think this totally relates to this topic of emotional eating, because we're going to get into the juiciness of it. And then later on, I'm actually going to break down some of the science about it. So you got a little tag team thing going on here.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yay. Now, let's get into these juicy questions here. So tell us a little bit about what was one of the hardest. No, actually, let's go back before that. Tell us, what was your eating style like kind of growing up?
So I'm a country girl. Okay. I grew up in the South. I'm from Florida, and we grew up on soul food or comfort food, as most people know. So that with comfort food, there's a lot of flavor, but it lacks a lot of nutritional value and quality. So growing up, I wasn't introduced to the best habits. Okay. When it comes to eating food. I had an auntie who was very structured, and I gravitated more towards her. And I picked up small habits from her. So she would always make us eat salads. Anytime we went to her home, she would always make us eat a salad before we ate our meal. Of course, at that time, I was like, I don't want this rabbit food. My mom didn't make us eat salads. So I was introduced to nutritional value and stuff like that because of my aunt, but it wasn't practiced because in my home, my mom, we just ate, whatever was easy and convenient to cook and whatever tasted good. So yeah, growing up was not.
Well, shout outs to the auntie. Everybody has one of them aunties in their life. I have an auntie like that too. I would say my parents, they gave me salads and things. But my grandmother too, she gave me that too. She was actually raised on a farm. Actually, and my grandfather, he would grow all his fruits and vegetables, and he would also feed the community. Wow. So he was a big community person, and we grew up from that. And then my grandmother, she was in North Carolina in a small city called Siler City, which most people don't even know what that is. But then she migrated over to the East Coast. And, it's not many farms over here in the city. So she ended up bringing some of that Southern cooking over here. And like kind of like you, that's kind of what I grew up on too. Most of our meals consist of a lot of the white things like meat, starches, things bread. Like that. Yeah. And she threw a salad in there sometimes on Sunday. But I mean, I think most people, it's an afterthought.
Yeah.
Our meals aren't planned around plants. They're just like, oh, let me throw that in there. Like, give my family something healthy. Here we go. And the salad goes bad. Nobody hardly touches it because everybody touched all the roast beef and the chicken and the potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, and so forth. I'm not gonna make you hungry. But anyway, that's what we did. And then we would be in a coma. And we did this every Sunday. And it's crazy in my mind, like, how did we do this every Sunday and not realize something was going on here? Falling asleep, and all that types of stuff. So, all right. Well, tell us a little bit about, you talk about this too, in your book about one of the hardest decisions that you had to make. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about your journey is a little different?
Right. Well, my journey is a little different. I didn't become aware of my emotional eating behavior until years after I experienced my loss. So for those of you who don't know me, like I said in my book, I talk about a loss that I experienced after giving birth to my daughter. And this was a life-changing loss, okay? And with it came many other changes health-wise that I had no knowledge of. I'll just tell you guys. So I experienced I had to have a hysterectomy after giving birth to my daughter due to hemorrhaging while birthing her. And for those of you who don't know what hemorrhaging is basically I was bleeding out.
Wow.
So
how old were you?
I was 18 years old when this happened. And a hysterectomy is where they basically remove your womb. So at 18, that puts you in instant menopause. And we won't go deep into menopause because a lot of older women, know what menopause is. So at 18, I went into instant menopause with no knowledge of what to expect coming afterwards. So throughout my 20s, leading up to my 30s, I experienced a lot of changes with my body. Well, that's the physical part of why I started emotionally eating, but it was more so the psychological part that I wasn't prepared for. And that was the depression, the sadness, dealing with these emotions that I didn't even understand, mood swings. These types of things led to me emotionally eating because I didn't know how to properly cope with the negative emotions, the negative feelings, the depression and the sadness. So I overate. I overconsumed food. I went to what made me feel good or what could fill this emptiness or this void inside of me without even really realizing it.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm eating. I know that I'm eating, but I don't know why I'm eating. Okay. And that's the thing. I don't know why I'm eating and I don't have any healthy alternatives. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm not going to go exercise because I'm feeling depressed. I'm not going to go eat a salad because I'm sad. No, I'm turning to comfort food. And that led to gaining weight amongst the other issues that I was dealing with my body. I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. I had a metabolic issue and a hormonal issue. So there were tons of factors that led to my weight gain, but the emotionally eating contributed to it as well. So for years, I struggled with that. And I prayed and I was praying, I was working out. At one point I decided, okay, I'm going to get my life. Okay. I'm gonna get my life together. So I did, I worked out. I started looking for new resources and tools that would aid, with my progress in trying to lose the weight. I prayed about making a decision that I just wasn't even comfortable with at first. And that was to move forward with bariatric surgery, because I was a yo-yo dieter. I was up and down, up and down. And I was tired it was mentally draining. I was just tired of having success and then failing, going forward, 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. So I prayed for about 2 or 3 years about going forward with bariatric surgery. And when I went in and did the consultation and all of the things that are required prior to having the surgery, I hit a point where I was just like, I'm not going to do this, because there were people in there that were way heavier than I was. I was 266 pounds. Most people look at me now and they're like, you did not weigh that much. Yes, I did. And everyone looks different with weight on them.
That's right.
They looked at me and they were like, well, you're not heavy, but they didn't see my knees hurting and my back hurting, and the issues that I was dealing with in my body. But I was 266 pounds. I was heavy because I was an athlete growing up. I played softball. I try to sound all good like I'm an athlete. I played softball. Okay. So I had really toned thighs and things like that. But with the issues with my weight, I carried a lot of my weight in my upper body. So I had really broad shoulders. I had a really apple shape, if you will, on my stomach. I carried a lot of my weight in my stomach because of the hysterectomy. My weight shifted. So anyway, I went to the doctor. I remember going to the doctor and I said, I'm not going to do this. I put it on pause for a few months and I was like, I'm not going to do this. And she said, why? And I gave her my list of reasons why, because I had actually lost 30 pounds prior to going into the surgery. I lost weight and I was just like, you know what, I can just do this on my own. But I knew there was a struggle. I lacked some discipline. Okay. To be honest, I lacked some discipline. And by that, I mean consistency. I lacked consistency in keeping up certain habits. So for me, working out was fun, but it wasn't always consistent. I got my eating under control. I cut out all my sugars, carbs, and things of that nature. So I implemented changes in my behavior that made me believe, okay, you know what, I can do this without having surgery. But I went into the doctor and she said, this surgery is for people like you. It's for people like you who've made changes in your behaviors, your lifestyle changes, who have these metabolic issues, things that I didn't have control over, in essence. And she said, it's people like you who are more successful with this type of surgery versus those who just want to lose weight just for the sake of losing weight.
But I think before you even continue, I think what most people don't understand, whether it's a bariatric surgery, whether you're having surgery on your heart or whatever the case in your body, the thing is a person who is, I'm going to use the word more healthier, is going to have more success in any surgery.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a C-section after having your child or, if it's bariatric, like how Tacondra had, or whatever the case of the surgery is, if you are a person that's compromised in your system, then it's a lot of crazy things that can happen. And the thing is, so I want to say this because I talk to people often. And listen, this episode is not to say that you have to particularly go down that pathway.
Right.
This is her story.
Right.
And I wanted to bring light to this because this might be someone else's story.
Absolutely.
And this platform is to celebrate people's journeys.
Absolutely.
And I'm thankful for her and not only her friendship, but for her life. And this was the path that she had to choose for her. And so we're just giving a little education based on that. But the thing is about the surgery piece, like I said, no matter what surgery that you're getting, there's a preparation that precedes the surgery.
Absolutely.
And most people, and I have a lot of clients and they always go, oh, after I get the surgery, then I'm going to get my whole life. Oh, I'm going to get disciplined. I'm going to get on the, I'm going to get with you after the surgery. I'm like, no, the time to get with someone is way before that. Don't wait till you have kids. Get that together before kids. Yeah. Don't wait until things get wherever. Get it before.
Yeah.
Whether you have to have a surgery or not, because the likelihood of it being successful. You've heard of people dying right there on the table now.
Yeah.
The likelihood of it being successful is based on the preparation that you have done, and it was clear, as she's saying, she had did some preparations. Now to continue, because I know everybody's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I need to know what else.
It definitely required preparation, mental, psychological preparation, not just the things that I had to prepare for physically with my body and my eating habits, but it was a psychological preparation that honestly, I wasn't halfway prepared for. Like the surgery was more psychological than it was anything else.
Wow.
So I learned that after having the surgery, but the steps that I took prior to having the surgery definitely helped, and it's helped me now after it's been over 4.5 years, and I'm still down. I've not gained. I think my lowest I got to was 155. I'm at 165, which was my ideal weight. So I put on 10 pounds because I needed to. However, I still want to lose some more. But anyway.
Oh my God. Look, I just want to say I love your spirit. I literally, the way that God brought us into even a friendship, let's say, I mean, beyond esteeming you as this awesome person that you are, that everybody gets to see on this platform and other platforms, but I really esteem you. Like, you're amazing. And I just think it's beautiful. Your journey is beautiful. So for those, like I said, if you haven't, her website is below. If you want to read further, I'm not going to let her share all the beans of her story. It's pretty amazing. And I think it's very relatable, whether you're a person who is in the exact journey that she is or not. It's not just for that.
Right.
Her journey is about transformation, period. And like you said, it starts in the mind, and the order of the body is spirit, mind, body.
Yes.
In that order. But go ahead, finish up. Oh my God.
Thank you. I love you. But yeah, it was definitely preparation beforehand. And like she said, you know, the best decision for me might be the worst decision for someone else. So I never compare my journey to anyone else. Those who have come to me and asked me about the surgery, I ask them questions and I tell them straight up, no, you're not ready. Because if something is broken on the inside of you and the outside of you changes without the inside being changed, guess what? You're still going to have emptiness. You're still going to have voids. You're still going to have to deal with you. You could look in the mirror, and this is something that a lot of people don't know. As my body was transforming on the outside, I would look in the mirror and I would still see who I saw before. So I would still complain. I would still have insecurities. None of that changed because there was something deeper on the inside that needed to be dealt with. So I always tell people transformation is not just an outward thing. It's an inside out transformation.
Yeah.
Point blank.
I'm just like my friend Sarah. I don't know if she watches the Sarah and Habe. I had them on another show the other time, but her husband was talking about the inside pretty.
Come on.
People focus a lot on the outside pretty.
Yeah.
But that inside pretty supersedes because it shines from the outside.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the focus. But wow, that's amazing. All right. Well, tell us, I know like your journey, they'll have to read about the rest of that, but tell us, what are some triggers that people can identify to know they're emotionally eating? Well,
for me, like I said, my triggers were sadness, depression, any type of negative emotion or feeling. You have to be able to identify those as triggers when you want to go eat. Here is one trigger that most of us probably experiencing right now don't even realize that we're emotionally eating, and that's boredom. Being in this quarantine, a lot of us are feeling bored if we don't have anything to do, and we go eat. I've found myself even during this season, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go eat. But here's the thing, here's the key. Self-awareness is key. Now that I know why, now that I'm able to identify, okay, I'm bored, I'm gonna eat. Some people don't even want to face what they're dealing with. You can't address anything that you won't face. You can't remedy anything that you won't deal with. So for me, during this season of boredom, if you will, when I feel like I want to eat, I'm like, okay, why do I want to eat? Well, because I have nothing else to do, or I'm confusing hunger with something else. So I might think I'm hungry, but I'm really thirsty. I need water.
Right. So really it's choosing to confront over comfort. That needs to be a t-shirt. Confront over comfort.
Confront over comfort.
Do t-shirts too, y'all. Look, that need to be a t-shirt right there. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna confront this ice cream. No, you gonna confront this issue.
Confront this issue. Let's deal with the issue. Face it. Okay, face it. So for me, Self-awareness is key, like I said, because I can identify, okay, I'm eating because I'm bored, or I'm eating because I'm stressed out. I'm eating because I'm sad. I'm depressed. Some people just eat and they don't care that they're eating. They just want to eat to relieve that pain, to relieve that negative feeling. And half the time you end up feeling worse than you felt after the fact once you're done eating it. So that was the thing for me. I would feel worse. I had a love-hate relationship with food because I would eat it while it was helping me suppress those negative emotions. Then after I ate it, I felt worse.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, if you're feeling bored, if you're feeling sad, depressed, stress isn't just physical stress, but emotionally and psychologically stressed. But there's another thing too, an emotion that we don't really think about, and that's happiness. Some of us eat because we're happy.
Wow.
We eat because we're happy. We eat when we're in social gatherings. It just enhances our experience with one another. So we eat, right?
Yeah.
That's an emotional trigger. I eat because I'm happy. Wow. You have to be careful with that one.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
I always do see people when they enjoy their food, they're dancing.
Yeah, they're dancing. You know, and I mean, when it gets to the point where you're over consuming food, or you just love to go out and eat all the time. I mean, some people have these great genes and they just eat and they don't gain weight. But then you got some people who are dealing with other psychological issues and they binge. You know, so it's you have to be careful. You have to live a balanced life because it's different for everybody. Emotions,
and even the ones that don't gain the weight, they have issues too.
Absolutely,
because I know I've met some. They're thin and they eat whatever they want, but it's right up in here because the food affects that brain.
Right. And
you can tell because when you interact with them, it's like, are you there? Like, they're triggered. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you don't see the physical weight, but they're very triggered. Yeah. Wow. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and throw up some hearts. I know you guys, I'm enjoying it.
Are you? One of those
topics.
I'm not able to see the comments. We may have some questions.
No, I am seeing them right now. Someone said awesomeness of a show. I think of your show. I think they were saying.
Okay.
Congratulations to you both. And I'll shout out some people here. Hi, thank you, Eric, or what? That's her husband. Hi, Eric. You know, we had him on here. They be laughing up a storm up in here. Okay, we're gonna have to have him on the show. But you're like, I didn't do upset. All right, hey Vince, saying hi to you. Ronaldo, thanks for watching.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
And Christopher, thanks for watching. I see there's other viewers. You guys are the Facebook stalkers, but you guys didn't put your name here. It's all right. I still love you. All right. Let me see if you can so you can see some comments there. But I'm definitely watching some of those comments. So while we're doing this topic, if you have any questions, feel free to float them below.
Absolutely.
Don't be ashamed. This is a forum where you can kind of just go ahead and talk what you want. So you kind of gave us an example of something you would eat if you were eating emotionally, but what would a day look like in an emotional eating day? Like, I know for me, like I'm one of those people that if I do something, I do it 100.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm gonna be like, oh well, you know, tomorrow's a new day type thing. Yeah. I don't know. What did one of your days look like? I know you didn't just eat ice cream all day. Like, what was it?
No. So I would go towards sweets and salty foods when I was sad or depressed. Okay. And I love that you're going to teach us a little bit about how they do chemically what they do. But I would run to sweets and salt. So it would be cakes, carbs, the ice cream. Half of us are lactose intolerant, but okay, we're not even going to talk about that.
Take the pill.
It was anything sweet, candy, chocolate, breads. When I tell you bread was just my go-to, okay. Salty, I would go for like chips and things of that nature. So I never realized that me going towards salty and sweet things had something to do. There was like a chemical reaction. There was something going on in my brain chemically as to the reason why I would go for these types of snacks. So, and I love that you're going to teach us a little bit about that, because
A little bit.
those chemicals and the types of things that you gravitate towards will actually tell you what type of emotions that you're dealing with and the ones that what type of issues you need to confront in your body. But for me, it was definitely the sweets. That was a huge thing. The breads, the salty snacks, I would just pretty much consume until I made myself feel miserable, to the point where I couldn't do anything but eat and go get back in the bed.
Right.
Go get back in the bed and sleep.
Wow.
So.
Wow. So what are some healthy things we can grab versus gravitating towards emotionally eating? What are some things we can grab here?
So the one thing is learning how to cope with your emotions, how to manage your emotions and cope in a healthy way. So for me, and this is not to say that I don't eat sweets. I still don't have salty snacks. I do, you guys. Come on. I recognize that imperfection is part of our human experience. I don't have it all together. However, I have learned how to balance what I do eat, and I eat with moderation. Okay. So for now, my sweets, when I'm not going to dairy-free ice cream, because I do eat dairy-free ice cream.
What brand? What brand?
I can't think of the brand, but it's like a sorbet. I eat a lot of sorbets.
Oh, sorbets. Okay. Those are
and sugar-free. Because of the surgery, I can't have a lot of sugar. So that was one of the great reinforcements about me having the surgery, was because now I can't eat myself to the point where I'm sick. If I eat too much sugar, I go into what's called dumping, and it's a horrible feeling. I don't like it. So I love that the reinforcement, and this is for people who've had the surgery or are thinking about having that surgery. If you don't pay attention to your body gives you signs. When I get too full, I hiccup. My body tells me, okay, that's enough. I pay attention to it. If I eat too much sugar, I start to get heart palpitations. I just feel, and I'm just like, oh, give me a minute. I don't even want to be around anybody.
You're in the amusement park. Okay.
I listen to my body. I listen because it's almost like it's a conditioning of the mind and the body. So if you ignore those signs, same thing. If you ignore those triggers, guess what? Those negative behaviors are going to resurface. That's why a lot of people who've had bariatric surgery end up gaining all of their weight back, because they ignore the signs, they ignore their body, what their body is telling them, and they allow those negative behaviors, those negative habits, to put them back into the same position where they started. So for me now, my go-to, my sweets is, my husband said,
don't joke.
No. Oh my goodness. So I'll go to fruits now. So I like to eat strawberries. I like to eat blueberries. I love eating blueberries. I'll eat bananas. I eat a lot of fruit now as my go-to for sweets or dairy-free ice cream.
Someone said, this topic hits home for me. Lord knows I be eating. Hi, William.
I go to a lot of protein now also, versus like the salty snacks that I used to crave, for example.
Right.
I'll eat peanuts. So I eat cashews. I eat a lot of almonds and things that have protein in them. I see Jessica says she started juicing to combat sweet. That helps. Juicing helps. I don't juice. I've tried it, but it's too messy for me.
I'm going to say it helps. The only thing for me with the juicing thing was, and we have a little solution actually, but that you can DM us about that. It makes it easier.
Yeah.
Because before that, I was like, I ain't wasting my money. I'm gonna drink this nasty juice.
Yeah.
And it was expensive. It was very expensive. But you can DM us about it. If you want to know what we do, that makes it easier. It's same stuff, and there's just no mess and better quality. Yeah, but that was a good suggestion that you said.
It is a good suggestion. I still juice sometimes. I'll purchase it. I don't juice it myself, but I'll purchase it. So I go to protein snacks. I go to the cashews, the almonds. I love acai bowls. Oh my God, I love acai bowls. For those of you who don't know what that is, look it up. Blueberries, acai bowls. I like granola because I'm a texture person, so I like crunchy stuff, right? So you just have to find alternative options that are healthier than what you were used to. I still eat chips every now and then. Well, I eat chips. I ain't gonna lie. I do eat chips. I try to get healthier ones, but I live in a home where, let's just say I have a teenager and she wants what she wants and my husband likes what he likes. So sometimes I do have those snacks that I shouldn't, but I'm very aware of what I'm putting into my body more now than I was before.
That's amazing. Well, I'm going to see if there's anybody that has any questions during this time.
Yeah.
But there's something that I actually want to show you a little bit before we get into this next topic. But we're going to talk about this emotional eating and how food and emotions work together.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually in a relationship. So I'm going to be sharing something with you in a few. But right now, let's just talk about that really quick and break this down. So food and emotions are definitely correlated. Any feelings of anxiety, depression, feeling lethargic, irritable, and cravings, definitely that can be spiritual, but also the other side of it is a result from poor and malnourished diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's because your body is lacking something. So one of the amazing quotes that I like, and I can't remember who said it, but it just always stuck in my head, is we have to remember food is not just calories. It is information.
Absolutely.
And so when we understand that food is not just calories or just eating something I like, but it's actually information that we're feeding to our body for what we put in it, then it causes us to pause, those who are aware of that, before we eat. And it's something that we can practice called mindful eating. Yeah. And these are 3 questions that you can, maybe somebody who's in the comment section, if you want to type these out for people who are watching, that you want to ask yourself anytime that you do eat something. The first thing is, or drink something. Mm-hmm. Why do I want this?
Why? Yeah.
Like she was saying, she was talking about, she was just doing it, but she didn't know why.
Yeah.
Why do I want this? Why do I want this drink? Why do I want this meal? Why do I want this food? Whatever. The second question that you need to ask yourself is, what will it give me?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, if you give your body empty calories or things that of no nutrition, your body dumps it.
It dumps it, and you're just gonna want more of it. It's never fulfilling. It's never satisfying.
Yeah, which leads me to the last question. What need do I feel it is going to fulfill for me?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the need is not hunger, like a physical hunger. It could be an emotional hunger.
Right.
And there are some things you can do to combat that physical piece of hunger, but to combat the emotional hunger, you're going to have to come back and revisit that. So Absolutely. This brings me to an important word that I want to talk about of how you combat emotional eating. Is you have to flood your body with micronutrients. Micronutrients are the small, hence the word micro, nutrition, but it's a lot of it. That's in only fruits and vegetables, and you can't get it from anything else. Mm-hmm. And it's full of antioxidants. And when we get those antioxidants and those micronutrients, our body starts to regulate our emotions, what we were talking about, our mood, and our physical conditions. So the micronutrients, I'll just give you an example of one. Let's take an apple, for instance. Now today, because of today's society and the way things are grown, you have to eat 5 apples in order to get the nutrition of 1 apple. That's a lot of eating, right? But in one good apple that is full of phytonutrients or micronutrients, it's 1,700. If you can picture that in your mind, that's how many is in an apple. So on the back of an apple, the ingredients is just apple. But in that apple, 1,700 phytonutrients, that's what you're giving your body. And when you give your cells that, your cells are like, yay! Mm-hmm. You know, they're getting happy and they're able to do what it needs to do. If you give your body something other than that, your body's looking at you like, excuse me, you gonna give me something? Because that's the fuel that the cells work upon. They work upon micronutrients. All right. So now let's talk about a person who's not getting enough micronutrients. More than likely, they have the imbalance in their diet. Mm-hmm. And what happens is because they're not getting those micronutrients, they will stay craving certain foods. Yeah. That's why when I see people on these health journeys and they're out there and they're doing all these exercises, but you should exercise and do all these things. It's not one or the other. It's you need to do all the things you need to do.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm craving this burger or this thing that they're trying to get away from that they know is addictive. And my thing is, if you're really doing what all the things you're supposed to be doing to give your body, then why are you still craving these things? And it's because your body's really not getting all these things. And there are some supplements you can definitely take, but your body responds best to real food. And that's what your body needs is real food. So
can I just add in there?
Go ahead.
I was just thinking about something when you're talking about all of this. We can really identify what's going on within us when we look at what we're putting in our mouth. In my book, I wrote about you are what you eat, and your appetite can reveal a lot about you. For most of us, when we're eating these foods, these unhealthy foods, what you run to, what you gravitate towards when you're dealing with issues in life. For example, if you're under stress and the first thing you run towards is sweets and carbs and all these things, that's saying something about what you're dealing with on the inside that you haven't confronted, you haven't dealt with it, right? You are what you eat is spot on. And I know we have our days and things like that, but for some of us, our days run on sentences that never end, when it comes to eating these unhealthy things. But you really are what you eat, and you can examine the thing, your beliefs, the emotions, the attitudes that you have about food or whatever it is that you're dealing with in life. You can examine what those things are just by identifying the type of foods that you eat. If you're used to eating low quality, then there's probably some things about your life and the emotions and things inside of you that are low quality. Mm-hmm. When you are dealing with or running to unhealthy food as your first option, rather than going to, to cope with stress, if you're not going to God one, or if you're not going to an unhealthy alternative to address the issues, then perhaps food is your idol. Food is your God. So when I tell you, you are what you eat is really what helped me. I was like, my goodness, what am I putting into my body?
Wow.
It's telling me a lot about me. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. And we're going to get into like how the body operates, like what the principle of the body operates on and stuff. But when we were talking about like if your body's not getting these nutrients, like she was saying, what happens is your brain's not getting the right signal that it needs to get, because these fake foods send off weird signals, and your brain is actually looking for a specific signal so that it can bring regulation, or other words, peace to your body. You're supposed to be walking in peace in your emotions, peace in your mind, in your mindset. That's why, and you guys know I'm a believer. So 3 John says, beloved, above all things, I wish that your soul prosper. What is your soul? Your mind, your will, your emotions. That has to prosper. Then he says, and also be in good health. Why? Because all of that works together. Health and mind works together. Health and what is it? Oh Lord, body works together. Health and will works together. And that spirit, like I said, that's the first. It goes spirit, mind, and body. So the thing is, you can't fake your body. You can't fake the body. And my naturopath talks about this. Dr. Paul, I don't know if you're watching this or not. He's awesome. But he talks about how your body operates in the principle of only one principle, the principle of truth. So the thing is, we have to be truthful to ourselves in every area of our life, even in our health. So really quick, before I get to these emotions things, I want to show you something that I actually show my clients. You guys are getting the front row seat today, so you better pull up and get your screenshots out. You got your phone. Take a screenshot
of this. This is where you're going to get to know a little bit about what you're dealing with when it comes to the things that you crave, because we don't want our cravings to become our grave. My husband preached about that.
So the first thing I want to show you is actually this diagram. And this is what you don't see at the doctors. I'm going to get into the other thing, but this is how you build your foundation for your health. Talking about with these micronutritions. Now, what most people do, I think you see my little pointer here, right? What most people do is they take this piece right here. It's called the foundation. Foods that you eat generously, which means a lot of it. Right. You have a lot of this food. Be as generous as you want. And what most people put here is meat.
Yeah.
But the thing is, your foundation can't be built on meat. It has to be built on the first thing, which is water.
Water.
Needs to be the right kind of waters. I learned this part from my naturopath. Do not drink purified water. That's what most people have in their house. Get rid of that. Do not drink reverse osmosis water. Don't drink any water that has on the label added electrolytes and all that stuff.
Right.
Don't drink distilled water. And that's going to mess with some of you old school people. When I said that, they're like, I'm drinking my distilled water. Well, go ahead with that, because we call that sick water in the community that I'm a part of. So you don't want to drink that. So what you want to do is you want to drink alkaline water. Let me give you a news flash. Essentia is not an alkaline water. I know, blew my mind too. Sitting there spending all that money, thought I was getting it. You have to be careful with. Don't just look at the water on the outside. If it says has a pH of something, read the back of the label. The label should say bottled at the source.
The source, right.
Okay. If it doesn't say that, your next question should be, how did they get it to that pH? Well, why did they have to add electrolytes? Why? Because it wasn't good water. That's why. That's why they have to add all these things to it. So no. So first thing is water, because we're made up of 75% water. Next thing you need is greens. In this category of greens, I'm going to use the word herbs, because herbs is split. Some herbs can fall in this leafy green category, but also herbs can fall all the way at the top where it says medicinal foods. Notice how it says, right here under medicinal foods, see it says herbs, microgreens, and juicing greens. Notice how it says eat what? Sparingly. I see people every day. I love you. I love you guys. We're part of the same community here. No bashing. But you guys are building your foundation on just herbs. It's not just herbs. It's everything that you do.
Right.
This is what this chart represents. Everything that you do.
Balance.
It's not one thing or the other. You can't replace water for meat or herbs. And I love herbs. I do herbs too, or nuts or anything else. You need different things out of these categories. And that's a balance. That's a balance view I'm giving you guys today. So then above the greens, and notice how these two are the bottom layers. And then you have the colorful variety of fruits and vegetables. Like I said, Jessica, I think you gave us a comment on here talking about juicing. You could definitely juice any of these things to get it in quicker. Like I said, you could DM me if you want to have a more affordable, easier way to do that, to juice these things, but it's no getting around it. This is what your foundation is to be built upon. And then after that, then we build on the foundation with legumes and grains and nuts and seeds. And remember, these are moderately.
Right.
That you eat these. And then comes the herbs that you eat sparingly. And then seaweed and nutritional yeast, things like that. So you want to eat these things in this order. So I hope you have your phone and you're taking a screenshot of this, because you're not going to see it at your doctor. One of the things that my naturopath always tells me is when you are talking about your body to someone, whether it's a doctor or a naturopath or whoever, know who you're talking to. If you're talking to a doctor, and I have doctor friends, I love them. Doctors do one thing, prescribe medicine. So if it's a medicine that you need and it's emergency, that's what they're going to be an expert at giving you. I'm not going to them asking them about this chart here, because they didn't study that. They study how can they prescribe medicine to help almost to trick the body, because it's a foreign to the body. It's not real food. So yeah. And then if you want to learn about this type of thing, then a naturopath would be a person you go to. So know who you're talking to and know who's talking to you.
Right.
That was good. Yeah, you can catch that on another page, but that's what I'm going to share with that. Now let's get into this emotional piece here. This is the piece where we're talking about. A couple screen shares today. Oh, wait. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me make sure I got it, because I done took it off my screen. But I'm getting it up. All right. I'm working this little thing. Ain't I? I'm working this thing. I'm going to give me some heart. Give me some heart. All right. I'm so silly. All right. Talk about this emotions.
Yeah, let's get to the emotional eating. What are your emotions And the foods that you're running through telling you about yourself.
All the arrows are just kind of saying what things point back to the next thing and how they connect and so forth and all of that. All right. So we're going to get a little bit of science here. So let's talk organs. Okay. We're going to use the organs. We have the pair, I would call them the couple organs. So we have our kidneys and our bladder. And we have our liver and our gallbladder. And our heart and small intestine. And then the spleen and the stomach. And then finally the lungs and the large intestine. Now, what you have to understand is every organ, all those organs that I talked about, they all have sensorial and emotional components.
Right.
Which is why when someone offends you, there is literally scientific evidence that they show the heart. It had little holes in it. It's a little heart. That's why you say, Lord, heal my heart. You better mean that thing. Lord, really heal my heart. Because there was some holes in that heart. And that's why it's important to forgive. I know. We ain't talking about that today, but we have to, because we got to go there. All right. So you got to forgive, not just for the person, but for you.
Absolutely.
Because it can affect your body physically. Some of us know this too, because we have, dealt with things and we physically felt something in our bodies.
Right.
With that emotion, because something physically was happening. And if a trauma ever happened to you, if they took a picture of your brain, the next time they take a picture of your brain after the trauma, it would be a totally different person's brain. Yeah. So you have some control here right now with being able to give your body the correct food that it needs. You don't have to be ruled by your emotions.
Right.
What does the Bible say? It says, set your affections on what? Things above. Another scripture says, cast your cares on the Lord, for he cares for you. Yeah, I'm not just quoting scripture. This stuff is real. This stuff is applied to your life. Yeah. So let's talk about the different organs here. So the heart, on this, you can see if you're craving coffee, chocolate. That's a lot of people on here. They'd be like, oh, I can't live without my coffee. All these things like that. Really, it's related to the emotion joy. Yeah. That's what you're craving emotionally. Joy, a sense of joy of whatever that is. Now let's talk about the next one, the liver. So these are people who craving sour candy. I used to love me some sour candy, so this might apply to me a little. I haven't eaten candy in forever. Oh my God, it's been so many years I can't even count. But so candy, anything citrusy like sourdough bread, vinegars, fermented food. I fall in this category a little bit. And look, this still surprised you here. There could be some anger. Is what that is associated with things of anger. Now I'm not calling you an angry person, but there could be some things that you're angry about. And it's okay. It's okay to be angry about something. The thing is, now we got to confront those things, because even after we give our bodies the micronutrition, the emotional piece is still there. And that's why the order is spirit, mind, body. Give yourself all the great food you want, but you got to get that spirit and that mind together. There's no getting around that. All right, now let's go to the next one. We talk about the spleen or the stomach. People with the sweets, craving sugar, dairy, candy. It's really linked to sadness.
And that makes sense. That makes sense. That was the reason when I was eating sweets, I was sad. That was a negative emotion or feeling that I didn't know how to properly cope with. So I would run to my sweets.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Your husband. No, Eric, tap water is not the best. Stay away from it.
But he drinks coffee like it's horrible.
He said, I'm gonna let you say it. Say it how he would say
it. He say, Lord, not my coffee. That's how
not that coffee. Yes, baby, your coffee.
Yeah. Your coffee. But let's just, I don't know if he got some bitterness in his heart he need to deal with. I don't know.
All right. Well, we're going to do a marriage counseling session today. That's for another show. This ain't on the Sean show. Okay. AKA Sean, the official show. All right. You're going to get God, you're going to get love, you're going to get family. That's my show right there. All right. So, all right, let's move forward. Look, so the next one is the lungs. And most people, and remember, it's to the area that you need to concentrate, talking about where the body's areas is too. Right. So maybe you crave the spicy. I crave spicy so much one time. Oh my God, this must have been 7 years ago, and my body, I must have gave it the last spicy thing that it could handle. And I ended up in the emergency room. I literally was like,
Wow.
oh my God. Yeah, they had to do where they go down your throat and look. Yeah, it was crazy. And they put me on Prolosec or something like that, whatever that was. Yeah, It was crazy. So yeah, you gotta be careful with the spices.
I don't do
so the spices, spicy food, hot sauce. See, there we go. I think I'm messing with y'all now. Y'all like, darn it, we turned into this channel. Or pungent mints and gums, spicy. What is that one? Big red, the cinnamon type stuff, spicy. Well, that's also linked to the emotion anxiety. Anxiety.
Yes, I dealt with a lot of anxiety. Anxiety and depression usually go hand in hand together. And it's of course attached to fear. But I don't remember craving spicy foods.
Well, it could be anything in that category that's like the pungent,
right?
Or the spicy foods, anything like that. But back to that liver real quick, because that even the angry thing can link to the people. What was it? No. Well, the crunch. Well, the crunch is in between the liver and the kidney. That the people that crave that crunchy, they got to crunch them ice. All of that. That I remember my naturopath said that. He was like, "Oh, that's that anger." That L was like, "Oh, no." With the crunch, I was like, "Oh."
We're gonna have everybody like, "Oh my gosh, I like crunchy stuff. I have anger issues."
Yeah, no, that's not the purpose. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna close up. We're gonna bounce for you here now. All right, and then the last one is the kidneys.
The salt.
So that's the salt, craving that the salty, the extra salt on meals. You ain't even tasted it. You just throwing salt on something. The salt, crunchy chips, cheese, all those types of things with the kidneys.
My God,
and usually too, a lot of times people when they, especially if they're having areas within that, they're having troubles with getting their water in. You don't want to do that because you don't want kidney stones. Like you don't want those different types of issues and things going on. So, all right. So now let's talk about, I want to stop that one. Hopefully you enjoyed that. You could take a little screenshot of that. But each of the arrows talk about how they kind of relate to each other.
Right.
So emotional hunger, there's two types of hunger, emotional hunger and physical hunger. Emotional hunger is based in your mind. It's sudden, it's very specific, and it's like, I want this food. It's very specific. So that's emotional hunger. And that's why I said we have to really confront the things that are going on. And deal with those things. And then you have physical hunger, which is something that comes from your stomach. So you got to identify the different things going on. Is what I'm feeling is an emotional hunger? Is it from my mind? Something I need to deal with there? Or is it something from my physical hunger? That's from my stomach. That's a more slower type of hunger. And that hunger is open to, I can eat anything. What do you want to be? I don't know, but I can eat anything. I'm open to a variety of things. And we've heard people say stuff like that. So that is a little bit about, hopefully you enjoyed that, about how food and emotions can go together. Maybe you saw some things in there. Someone put the McDonald's, stay away from the McDonald's, the spirit makeup. Yeah, he listened to everything. He said, I'm better, not bitter. That's right. Go ahead, walk in that healing. Look, but we have to confront. That's why it's called emotional eating.
Right. You have to confront those issues. God can't heal what you won't reveal. And you cannot remedy, like I said, the fruit if you don't address the root. So
right. And if God reveals it to you, it's for the purpose of healing.
It's for purpose. Yeah, absolutely.
He'll deal with you in the midst of your dreams. Yep. Even with emotional eating and all those types of things.
Yeah.
Because food and emotions should not be ruling you.
And a lot of us are led. Okay.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
A lot of people are led by their emotions, and you have to get to that place where your emotions no longer drive your life. They no longer lead you, or lead your life, and the decisions that you make ultimately. So
definitely. So I know this was encouraging for lots of you out there. We're getting some really good responses. Thank you so much for everybody who watched us on today. I'll let my guest have the last words. Anything that she wants to leave you guys with. Make sure, like I said, her website is up here. You can purchase her books. If you could show those books again before we get off. They're really amazing. I have both of the books and the t-shirt. I just didn't wear the t-shirt today. I probably should wear it.
So these are the books, again, Transform from Pain to Purpose and Beautifully Transformed, Discovering Beauty in the Beast. They're both on my website, www.tacondra.com. And if I had to leave you with some words today as it relates to what we've talked about with emotional eating, how do you overcome it? That's the main thing. How do we overcome it? Well, you have to face it. You have to identify the root issue, deal with it. You have to trace it. What happened? What, trauma did I experience, or what negative emotion am I trying to suppress? That I haven't developed a proper coping skill for. You have to erase it. What broken belief or whatever that brokenness was, you have to deal with it. You have to erase it. And then ultimately you have to replace it. So we want to replace anything negative, any type of negative habits or coping skills that we've developed to deal with our issues. We want to replace those with healthy alternatives. And there's so many resources out there. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes how long, Deshawn, for a new habit to become?
Oh my gosh. You can literally probably try to break a little bit in 90 days. 120 days is a really good time to really kind of set in on a new habit. And everybody doesn't take on all new habits at the same time. So it's going to take different portions.
There's
you can change from your body in 365 days.
Absolutely.
Like each part of your body. Yeah.
Come on. So give yourself the grace to change. For me, like I said, my loss was so life-changing. It was so life-changing for me. I had so many issues, and God is still gracing me. Like, I woke up this morning and there were some habits that came to my awareness, and I'm like, darn, I'm still healing, Right. But that's the thing. Once you become aware of it, now you have to actually make those changes. I have a shirt that says that I'm transformed, not just informed. Well, a lot of us are informed, but we don't apply what we know. Right. So transformation cannot come without application. So once you know better, you do better, or you put things in place to help you get to that point. So again, give yourself the grace, because you're not going to get it right. It took you years to get to this point where you're like, okay, this is an issue. It needs to be corrected. It's not going to change overnight. You 30-something years old, and all your life you've been eating this stuff that's no good for you. Right. It's going to take small changes. So for me, it's starting with small changes. Drinking water every day, being intentional about that. I still struggle with getting my water intake in, but just simple changes will ultimately lead up to those bigger changes that you'll see the differences that it's going to make in your life. So don't be discouraged. Be encouraged and be hopeful that you can make these changes. Definitely. And like I said, feel free to reach out to Tacondra. How can they reach you? You can reach me on the website. Yeah, just the website, www.tacondra.com, or email me at info@tacondra.com with any questions, testimonies, prayer requests. Yeah, and she's helping people in their transformation journeys, and all their journeys are different, because one thing about people is no one's cookie cutter. No, everybody's journey is different. Men have their own journeys that they're on too. Some even, I know men and women are different, but sometimes men and women are similar in this. I know I'm going to relate it to the story she was talking about, losing a child or not able to have another child. I've seen where men too have eaten emotionally. They don't want to, however they're feeling about that, and they take it on through food, but you have to confront that. And I've also seen it with the women too. The same thing. I mean, or it could be a loss of a job. Your value is not in what you do. Right. Come on. Now, don't be talking about the self-worth. That's a whole nother subject. Okay. It's not in what you do, because if you think that, and that's what your whole ideologies and all the things that you form your beliefs around is centered around, that you are going to be a very unfulfilled person. Absolutely. Yeah, you are. So, so that's another. It is. We'll be
But
all right.
look, see my little thing here? Oh, here it is. Wait. Yeah. Do more.
Do more.
Okay? Do more.
Do more. And sometimes, you know, for some people, like I said, when you give yourself the grace, less really is more. So those simple changes, start increasing your water intake.
Right.
That's more, but it's really less when you think about it. So
definitely one of my we're becoming really, really awesome friends, actually. Tangi, I don't know if you're watching this. I watch some of her stuff too. She's really good. She was talking about how you and some of you might not know this, but before you eat, drink water.
Oh yeah. I'll
maybe
share
20 minutes. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'll share just from my perspective, having this bariatric surgery. And if anybody goes out to eat with me, if you've been around me long enough, you know I have a routine when I go out to eat. So I don't eat or drink, or if I do drink, it has to be 15 to 20 minutes prior to me eating. But I don't eat and drink at the same time.
Right.
I can't do that because one, it flushes the food and nutrition through my body much quicker.
We shouldn't do it either.
Well, good. We shouldn't do it because it flushes. Your body's not able to absorb all the nutrients that it needs from the food that you're getting. So I don't eat and drink at the same time. If I go out to eat, the first thing I always ask for my drink in a to-go cup. Always. If you've been out to eat with me, you notice I always get my drink in a to-go cup because I'm not going to drink it while I eat. I always drink it afterwards or a little bit before. And then portion control. If you know you struggle with overeating, divvy out your food. I always ask for a to-go box. At one point, I was eating off my husband's plate. That's how much
wow.
It was a cheap date, for real. Those were some good times.
I don't remember it being that good because I don't remember eating much.
Yeah, I could not eat that much. So I would eat off my husband's plate and I would be full. And now when I go, I get my own portion. And because they feed us so much food these days, I portion my food out. So I'll say, okay, I'm gonna eat this. Can I get a to-go box? I take it home. And if I get hungry later, I'll eat it. So
look, they don't. When I went to Africa, I thought that they gave us big portions right there. My African friends, I don't know if y'all watching. Hey, y'all. I miss y'all. Yes, they did. I mean, it was literally like I could eat that. I could eat it for 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
It was tearing it up in one set. That's what y'all used to that.
Yeah.
That right there, it was like a melting. I was like, oh my God, I can't eat all that. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they don't play over there. So I'm an African friend. Hi.
Yeah, I need to go to Africa. They might not like me because I can't eat.
I'm telling you, it's a lot. It's just a lot of food. Wow. It was good though. And they have other things that's banned over here that's not banned here in the US. So it's a different form of things there. That's totally different. I had ice cream. Yes, I did. When I went to Africa, because you know how you gonna go to Africa during the ice cream. Okay. And it was not sweet.
It wasn't.
No, it was just right. I didn't even know that was what just right tasted like.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to go.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, wait till all this is over though. But
definitely wait.
Next year, maybe you can go with us. All right. So yeah. All right, everybody. Well, I know we've been on here giving you all the good nuggets and all those types of things. Make sure you go to Tacondra, www.tacondra.com. Get that book. Bless somebody with that. It's not just for women, it's for men too.
It is. It's so pretty.
It's about transformation. That's what it's about.
Look beyond the colors and stuff. I am a woman. That is my assignment. Men, I have had male readers read this book and their life has been transformed because of it also. So
even husbands, boyfriends, people out there, if you want to invest in your woman.
Come on.
Or your teenager or whoever, and you see the beautiful in them, and sometimes women struggle with that because it's all about how they look on the outside, all these things, how they feeling, and you want to esteem them. This is a good book. It's not an insult. It's a good book that gives them some encouragement in the midst of their journey. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we're gonna say bye.
Bye.